Um, Hi. I didn't expect the positive feedback from my last video, well, my introduction video, as it did get the feedback that it did. I didn't expect all that. So, for that, I want to thank everybody who saw the video and decided to leave a nice, encouraging comment. You guys are actually really cool. You guys are the greatest. And I promise you, I won't disappoint with future content, including the video you're watching right now. So with that out the way, let's just get straight into it. Hi, I'm the Mimic, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite parts of the Warhammer universe, the ever-expanding, ever-large, never-ending void of things that go on here. We're going to talk about the Nightlords, and, their biggest player, what happened, why I like them. Let's get straight into it, shall we? Alright, before we start anything else, let's build a steady foundation on concrete. You can't make a house on sand. So let's start with the scene. Nocturne. This is a crime-ridden cesspool of a planet where the lowest of the low reside. Imagine Arkham, Belrev, and the Raft as a planet, and then proceed to turn off every single light, destroy every single light source, and then throw a big giant blanket over top of the entire planet. And you kind of have the planet, in a sense, more or less. Pretty sure it's worse than that. The people there are no better, devoid of all morals and sense of value. While not everyone, there are a couple non-corrupt souls, probably dead, but mostly everyone on the planet is a criminal, even the children there. No one is safe. No soul on that planet was safe, in fact, from the cold grasp of corruption, even the wealthy. I feel that a common saying amongst the wealthy was, no one ever made it to the top by keeping their hands clean.
Clearly, you've never made an omelet.
You beat me by 1 second.
I felt they said that a lot in order to give themselves a sense of comfort while taking advantage of the lower class, just so they make themselves feel better for, a lack of a soul, in a sense, They gotta have something to keep them grounded. Now, since we have that set up, let's start with our player today. Our player today is our beautiful, beloved Prince Conrad Kurz. This murderous bundle of joy had a beautiful, wonderful life growing up. He was violently shot onto this planet's crust, and unlike his brother, there was no one to greet him with open arms, or even arms at all. He was left to fend for himself against the hunger, the natural predators, and left to his own wits. But with him being a Primarch, and their whole thing being, I'm better than everyone else except for Big E, he of course was successful in not dying. Growing up on that cesspool of crime and filth, Kurz saw this, and he wanted none of it for himself. He didn't want to do that. He didn't want to stoop so low. He saw himself as better. Since he saw himself as better, he was going to do better. He wanted to institute a better way of living for himself and everyone on the planet. If you ask anybody about what Conrad Kurz did, or what he does, or how he did it, i.e. the skinning, the flaying, dismembering, and scaring the everlasting shit out of you, they would tell you he's one of the worst people in the setting, on the lines of Perturabo and Fulgrim. But if you ask me, I say if the ends justify the means, and if you're yielding more than satisfactory results, then you have the right idea. Now, I know there's one other guy who says that, Mr. Peter Turbo, but I don't really like the Iron Wars like that. They have good fashion sense, though. Motherfuckers call them ranch the way they be dressing.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Back to the story, back to the script. If the ends justify the means and you're yielding more than satisfactory results, then you have the right idea. I mean, the guy in his adult years managed to rid that dumpster fire planet of all crime and take over as the first Dark King within a year. So I say his way of getting stuff done is pretty good. I mean, if a guy in all black tattered robes and hook attachments on the forearms came down from the shadows and gutted the guy next to me and hung him from intestines, that would sway me to be the furthest thing away from a criminal. I would have a squeaky clean record after seeing something like that. I feel most of you would too. Now let's talk about the Legion. The Legion is, oh my goodness. Imagine an army of Thomas Wayne Batman with little to no care of outside criticism. And with Conrad Kurz being introduced to his already murder-hungry army, he didn't do much to them. He just sprinkled in a little bit of extreme justice to right their murder intent towards the right people. Space Marines are shock troops, with the Nightlords being no different. Every Legion has their specialty, with the Bat Boys just specializing in turning your pants into a new shade of brown. Just straight up scaring and scarring you into submission. Let's take an example, shall we? Let's say we have two Legions. Let's take two of them. We have the Space Batmen, our beloved Bat Boys, and we have, the Space Furries. I say these two in specific because they do the same thing, with one doing it better than the other. Their goal is to get a planet under Imperium rule, whereas the Space Furries would just rip and tear until only 1/10 of the planet is still, functioning, and all just leaving a wake of blood and havoc, decimating the planet's resources, which is why the Imperium kind of wants the planet. The Nightlords would go to a major city, sneak into the house of an important elected official, kidnap and skin their wife, wears their face as a mask, scaring said official into signing over the Imperium, effectively gaining a new planet and having its resources still being able to be harvested. Now, normally, people would say, oh, the second guy, he's kind of crazy. I say, if you look at it logically, we still have the planet. We have more than enough people to harvest resources and get them back to the Imperium. Now let's talk about the downfall of Kurz and the Legion effectively. Kurz, with being an inheritor of the Emperor's DNA and some of his innate abilities like all his brother Primarchs, with himself having foresight so good and so accurate it was allegorical, but with such power it costs. Yeah, he would kind of lose control when it would activate, and he couldn't control it. It would just happen out of nowhere like a faulty TV. And my God, were they painful. It was in an excerpt. In a meeting with Big E himself and the other Primarchs, he had a vision so prophetic that it caused him to fall to his knees and start to try to claw his own eyes out, with only the touch of the Emperor being able to soothe his pain. Safe to say, my man was not having a good day at all, if any time. And on top of the visions that cursed our beloved Space Batman, Nostromo, his homeworld, was being Nostromo, essentially. With him being off-world, people weren't really afraid of him anymore, because if he's off-world, I can wake up the next morning knowing I'm still here. I have my skin. I can do this today and wake up knowing I'm still gonna have my skin tomorrow. Alright? Okay, cool. But with Nostromo being Nostromo again, it is the recruiting world for any and all Nightlords. Since it had fallen back into disarray, the recruitment the standards had dropped, so they were just recruiting any and everybody. No longer were the Nightlords yearning for justice, instead only yearning to feel their unsatiated murder lust, which was a straw that kind of broke the camel's back on top of many other things, but I feel that was one of them. Kurz kind of blew up his homeworld and took his Legion and fucked off the Sagwasa? I don't know how you say that. It's a distant planet. This is where Kurz will make the decision that would leave his Legion in more shambles that it was already in. As he foresaw himself dying to an assassin, he decided to not fight it but to let it happen, and he told his Legion it would happen and they were to do nothing about it. The assassin would leave the planet unscathed. That didn't go very well at all. They caught that fucker and proceeded to snap its neck. Yeah, rest in peace, my boy Imshin. That guy is super dead. But yeah, this was a shorter video than I would have expected, but I just wanted to put something out there for you guys, just solidifying my spot here on YouTube. So I hope that it was good enough for you guys. With that being said, I do appreciate you guys tuning in again. There will be more videos. There will be another video next week. I do thank y'all for watching. Leave a like, Drop a comment. Maybe drop a sub if you'd like to. Establish your own home here. You know, thank you guys.